allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yeah. Get the shirt.
Smile.
So we need a motion for minutes from the 4th of December. So second.
Mr. Fogel?
Yes.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Adrian.
Today's financials include an appropriations transfer in the Commissioner's Miscellaneous Fund for the year-end capital projects transfer. Also, cash transfers from the General Fund to Common Pleas Court Pre-Sentence Investigation Fund for a payroll advance due to grant funding not yet received from the state in an amount of $3,500, which shall be paid back once grant funds become available or by December of 2019. Also, a cash transfer to the Court Technology Fund for the remainder of their 2018 funding. Encumbrances include an encumbrance from the Maintenance Department to Neopost USA for a new mail machine, and among the vouchers are $22,194.89 from ADP to Logos Communications for the Black Box Video Conferencing Project. Also $250,000 from the Engineer's Office to the City of Chardon for municipal road funds for the Clarendon Road Improvement Project. Also $32,208.18 from the Sheriff's Office Rotary account to Liberty Ford for a new law enforcement vehicle. And revenue certifications for 2019 from the Juvenile and Probate Court in their care and custody CASA special projects and computerization funds.
Questions? So moved. Second? Yes. Hi.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Grace, good morning. How are you? Come on up. Sure. Do you need a projector? This is all verbal.
No, they're behind you.
Behind you.
So do I just sit here?
Yeah. If that's easy for you. I'll get out of your way. Yeah.
Is that okay, or, or stay in there? Or just,
And I'll move the slides, so just nod at me, and
Okay,
we're trying to
okay.
look at it.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Thank you very much for giving NOACA the opportunity today to be before you and make the official announcement that NOACA has received $9.6 million of federal funding for improvements to Geauga County's roadway system. So we are in receipt of it through the BUILD program, and BUILD is a program that stands for Randy Building.
Better utilizing infrastructure to leverage development.
There we go. Better utilizing infrastructure to leverage development. It's actually a really cute acronym.
Yeah.
One of the better ones that I've seen the federal government comes up with. They come up with acronyms regularly for their transportation programs, and oftentimes they're the names of some of the leadership's wives, and then they put the acronyms around it. But BUILD is quite neat. So it is a federal program, and so to that end, I would like to thank Senators Portman and Brown and Congressman Joyce for all of their assistance, their support, their letters, their calls, and working with us and you in order to ensure that we were recipients of this grant. The USDOT program, which is U.S. Department of Transportation, this used to be called their Tiger program, and under the Trump administration they changed the title, and again I think BUILD is a very aptly done acronym, and they received 851 applications, which totaled $10.9 billion for a program that is only $1.5 billion. So it was essentially 7 or 8 times oversubscribed. So it's an extremely competitive program, and 91 projects were awarded this year. Under the Trump administration, he did want to emphasize the rural components of our road transportation system, and therefore 62 of the 91 projects that were selected through the USDOT's program are rural in nature, and so that's almost nearly $1 billion of the $1.5 billion, or 2/3 of it, went to rural. It is one of the reasons that as NOACA was working towards trying to determine what we were going to apply for, we really thought about our rural program here. And thanks in large part to Geauga County's overall presence on the board and their overall reflection and persistence on rural issues, it really kept it to the forefront of our minds. Also, our rural council that was developed a few years ago, in which Geauga County does have a majority of the members because it is the most rural county, has also allowed us to really understand the rural concerns more. So just wanted to mention that component of the grants and that component of NOACA's shift towards better understanding rural and better being able to serve the citizens of Geauga County. So about the project, what exactly are we doing? The Amish population, which I did not know until we put this application together, really is the 4th largest in the United States. It is very, very large and rapidly growing. We are essentially trying to accommodate 2 different types of transportation systems on the same roadways, and that was causing and continues to cause a tremendous amount of conflict. This is nothing new that I need to tell all of you in this room. Next, as you know, one of the things that we started looking at are the crashes. We started a safety and operations unit last year at NOACA. And as part of our safety and operations unit, we do focus on a number of crash areas and high priority areas within the region. One of the things that we found were that the crashes in Geauga County were with Amish buggies, and they were severe, and that they certainly were in need of some support. I know I've been here for about almost 6 years now, and I've had the opportunity to work with many of you here in Geauga County. I can remember one of my first meetings with Commissioner Spitaglieri was exactly on this question. There was a buggy, I believe a buggy car crash, or maybe it was just the horses were scared, but it was a severe issue that you brought to our attention. Consistently, Commissioner Claypool has brought up oftentimes buggies. And Commissioner Lennon, although newer to the board, has been very insistent upon the rural perspective and the fact that if we all work together, we can bring good things to Geauga County and to the region. So understanding the nature of the issues here, we wanted to focus on the safety and mobility needs. And so as part of multiple different intersections, so they call it intersectionality. A whole lot of projects and thoughts and folks working on things came together, and 2 things happened. One, your Geauga County engineer, who I think is, I don't see him.
Yeah.
Oh, is he
Joe.
here?
He's back there.
Joe
Okay.
Cattell.
There you are. Joe Cattell, wanted to thank Joe Cattell for bringing to the attention of NOACA over many years through the road program, but specifically in a 2017 TLCI application. Engineer Cattell was working on trying to resolve some of the issues and needed to have some additional funding, and it was really a partnership. I think it was an $800,000 project, and you were looking for $200,000 from NOACA. And certainly our TLCI program, which had often been thought of as more of an urban program, we determined, of course, it's not an urban program, it is a regional program, and we're able to provide $200,000 for the Newcomb Road improvements. I think that also, in my discussions with Engineer Cattell and in the staff, particularly Brian Blaney, who now works for NOACA but had worked for ODOT, came to understand the problems here. To that end, also around the same time, the Amish Safety Strategic Plan was being worked on. ODOT partnered with NOACA, along with the Highway Patrol, village and township officials, the Geauga County Board, of course, the engineer and such, and we all worked together to develop that plan. That plan is actually the baseline for our application. So if none of this work had been done, we would not have been in a really good position to put forward the application that we did. So, Geauga County officials The engineer, the commissioners, and all of the folks in the village and townships that participated along with ODOT deserve a lot of the credit for this as well, as NOACA putting together the application. So what does the project do? Essentially, create safer roadways and improved mobility for all users by helping to eliminate conflicts between cars, trucks, pedestrians, and Amish buggies. And in large part, when Engineer Cattell came to me looking for some of the money, and he was looking at, he mentioned to me before that this isn't the first Amish buggy safety plan that Geauga County has had. There have been, in the past, other plans. And the plans get done, but then they haven't been able to be funded. And so that was a big concern of his, and looking at how to begin doing this. And so the first step of that being the TLCI program, the key is all users. It's not just about Amish buggies. It's about bringing multimodalism to a way that allows all users to be safe and secure on the roadways. And we do that in all settings. In the urban settings, it's as well. It's about the cars, the people, the buses, the trucks. They don't have Amish buggies, but they've got a lot of bicycles, and making sure all of that works together. So this is it. The project has 3 major components to it. One is to widen shoulders for buggy and pedestrian use. And so at 2 locations, they will be widened to 8 feet. And at 3 locations, they will be widened to 4 feet. Secondly, adding buggy warning systems, and there are 6 specific locations that they will be added to, plus a few more. And then thirdly, improving school zones in highly traveled pedestrian areas with signage and or flashing lights. Many locations, in large part, we do have them identified. Some of them are not mapped out, so we still have some opportunity to really ensure that we're making the right improvements. In terms of the 8-foot buggy widening at 2 locations, we're talking about State Route 87, Hayes Road to Trumbull County, which is about a mile, and then State Route 608, Nauvoo Road to a little bit north of Burton Windsor, and that's about 1.5 miles. Also, we are looking to widen the shoulders for 4 feet for pedestrian use at 3 locations. And this would be State Route 168 for 1.2 miles, Patch Road to Shed Road, including the bridge. Newcomb Road, Nash Road to Shed Road, which is about 2.75 miles, which is currently gravel road. And Mumford Road, which is 1.1 miles, Patch Road to State Route 168. And then in terms of the adding the buggy warning, conflict warning systems at the 6+ locations, initially we're looking at Old State Route, or Old State Road near Trumbull County line. There are 3 locations there. State Route 88, east of Bundysburg Road. We've got 1 specific point there. State Route 168, south of Nash Road, 1 location. Burton Windsor, west of State Route 608, 1 location. State Route 87 at Hayes Road, 1 location. And State Route 608 at Burton Windsor Road, 1 location.
Grace, how does the warning system, is that just signage or is that an actual
They could be a
interactive?
number of different things. They could be interactive, they could be warning beacons. Randy, do you have any specific?
Yeah, the actual warning system is pretty interactive, and what it'll do is it will notify the driver through flashing lights of an upcoming slow-moving vehicle. Hasn't been implemented much on Ohio's roads. That's kind of more of a unique idea with traffic control devices that exist today. But essentially, it will notify the driver that there's a slow-moving buggy up ahead of them on a hill or a curve.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then including the improvement for school zones and highly traveled pedestrian areas with signage and flashing lights. Numerous locations, as you can see, Newcomb Road again, State Route 168, 608, 87. So there's 168, a whole lot of work that we want to put into making those aspects of the pedestrian trip, particularly around school zones, safe. One of the things that we did in developing our safety and operations unit, we hired somebody who specializes and still specializes in safe routes to school. So she was employed at the National Advocacy Organization for Safe Routes to School and is a national expert. And so her combined with Other staff, such as Brian at NOACA, really was able to make some very good, logical, and yet, I said emotional and yet logical points on why we needed this. So what is the overall project? We're looking at $14.3 million is what the whole project cost. $9.6 million is what we requested of the federal grant, and that is what they gave to us. The remainder, so around $5 million of it or so, will be funded, shared by NOACA and ODOT. Federal grants do require local match, and so we were able to put in NOACA and ODOT funds to do that. And so essentially we have an entire program that we're able to bring to Geauga County without Geauga County having to put in its own funds, and recognizing how we think that working together, I can remember being at this board probably 5 years ago where maybe folks didn't see the value of NOACA. I'm hoping now that as we've worked together to better identify the needs of Geauga County and recognizing Geauga is a very important part of the region, hopefully that we can see by working together we have been able to come up with a program and a project that benefits all, and that you see some of the value that NOACA can bring to you. That's the presentation. I did also, I was remiss in that I did not introduce Randy Lane. Randy Lane is the Director of Programming at NOACA, and Randy's group is responsible for project programming, which includes looking for and trying to successfully write grant applications, and so I do want to thank Randy and his team for their work as well.
Thank you very much, Grace, and thank you for coming in this morning.
Definitely, thank you.
And again, this is a win-win-win for Geauga County. I believe, for, like you said, all modes of transportation. It's not just the Amish safety. There's lots of commerce going through Middlefield, heavy truck traffic. So, and there's congestion there. Believe it or not, they have their own little Middlefield rush hours, and so this is an exciting and a great program that you helped us achieve. And this, you see the number of applicants that tried to get in on this, and the ones that actually were awarded it. This is pretty unique, for sure. And Geauga is unique, So I think that
Exactly.
that helped,
I do want to give a shout out, although he's not here, to Pat Holtz, who is a Geauga County resident and former NOACA employee. He was with us for about 5 years. But Pat, also being from Geauga County and having an absolute zest for life in Geauga County, always kept Geauga County issues to the forefront as well. And certainly worked on this, not on this specific grant application, but worked in general on helping us understand the programs and put together always a good program of projects and insight into the federal process. Unfortunately, this program came up after he left, but I still want to give him a shout out.
That's right. When would we see this start hitting the shovels going in the ground?
Well, Randy told me he's already beginning to work on getting together the plans with all the affected parties. So Randy, if you want to shed some additional light on that.
I'd be happy to. The build grant requires projects to be obligated, which means federal funds essentially approved for the project by September of 2020. So we're going to work really hard with Geauga County Engineers Office, ODOT District 12, to program the funds and do the necessary project development and plan development in order for construction to start thereon after.
Mm-hmm.
The funds have to be expended, I believe, by 2025, so there's plenty of time to spend the funds. But the real work will be developing the projects and getting acceptable plans done here in the next year and a half to be able to start construction thereon after.
Now, will all that work go to outside contractors, or will our engineers do any of that work? Or?
It's required to be competitively bid for the most part, so we don't know those answers yet on how we can combine and contract this. The preference would be to do it as much under one or two contracts, or allow for as much flexibility as possible. But a lot of that will be in the inner workings of how the grant needs to be administered.
I see.
And we certainly will be planning the execution of this very closely with Joe Cattell, your county engineer, as well as with ODOT District 12.
Great. Okay.
I mean, we like to, We like to be able to bring projects to fruition, so in many ways, we like to have that edge on a lot of other planning agencies. We're not just a planning agency, we like to push towards implementation, but certainly we don't have all of the capacity. That's really your county engineer.
Okay, great, thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep, thank
Great,
you.
yeah.
So thank you again for having us here, and thank you very much for being a very valuable and effective part of the NOACA board.
Okay,
Yeah, no, thank you for your help with this, for sure.
Good, great, thank you.
great, thank you.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Grace? What, you actually had a quick question. We're just,
Sure.
a question had come up last week with Dave and I. We're just trying to figure out our reorg for next year. Something that we always have as far as housekeeping items. Is it an issue as far as we had within our own organization to be able to have where we have the two commissioners and the engineers within what we would have here? Do you see any issues as far as that goes?
Is having the two engineers.
No, one engineer.
I'm sorry, but Joe does so much work.
Yeah.
He does the work of two.
Good
He does at least the work of two. I meant that you want two commissioners and an
Yeah,
engineer to be
yeah.
your board members.
Yeah.
No, not a problem.
Okay, all right. Okay, just wanted to make sure that we were okay with that. Just, we had asked last week, and that worked out good, you being here too, to ask you that.
Yeah. We'll have to look at specifically from a legal perspective in the Code of Regulations if we need to make any changes. I don't think so, but we'll take a closer look at that. And if we do, we can certainly put that on the agenda for January, so
Okay.
that way it gets done at the same time that all the membership gets put into place.
Okay, yeah, 'cause it just helps us always with these
Yep.
alternates and stuff,
Yeah.
so, okay, thank
Yep.
you.
Okay,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank
have
you
a
very
great
much.
day. Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate you coming out.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we've got, okay.
Morning.
Morning, how are you?
Morning.
Morning, everybody.
I think I saw you exactly 1 year ago.
Well,
Yeah.
April.
Maybe, yeah.
So it's that time again.
Yeah.
We gotta get started on the 219, of course, renewal. Right. We spent the better part of November gathering all the information, of course, so it's everything from verifying property locations, payroll, employee counts, vehicle schedules, equipment schedules. It's quite an involved process. And what we have before you is a brief summary of all the information that was submitted, and we need a signature on that so that, of course, you can go forward with the 219 process. I mean, 60-some counties submit all the information to Corsa, and starting in January, they will then market the program and come back to membership, usually in March, and then in April, we'll present, I'll come back with the renewal presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been quite an adventure.
I'm sure. There's a lot of moving parts there, for sure.
There are.
We did, and this year, the county, Corsa provided the county with a complete property appraisal of every location. And that benefit to the county, that was like a $47,000 benefit that Corsa paid for in total. And they do that for each of the county entities. Takes about once every 6 to 7 years, and we were right at the end of the cycle, 7 years.
Right. Well, when I was first coming in as commissioner, we were kind of had some rough years and claims there, right? I mean, wasn't our rating a little lower there for a little bit?
Yeah, we had a frequency problem with the
Yeah.
automobile fleet, which we did get that corrected, but we did have a nasty accident this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, it's true. That's right. That's right, yeah.
And I don't know what effect,
That'll have on them.
property-wise, and from a frequency standpoint, we haven't had the accidents this year, but the one or two that we had, there was some severity
Big,
there.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, my dealings with Corsa being new to this is, they're just, I mean, I gained so much knowledge at the winter conference, and just working with everyone and working with Gary has just been a great experience. It really has. I think our county is a great
Yeah.
chance.
Yeah, and I'd like to congratulate you too and thank you for, stepping into this role and,
Did a very commendable job for the
Yeah.
first go-around.
right.
Because it's quite
It's a
an
lot.
involved process.
It's a lot, yeah.
And being totally unfamiliar with it and all the information that I needed in order to get that back to Corsa, it's
Sure.
quite an involved process.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Did a very
both.
commendable job, I will say.
Thank you
Thanks,
both.
Gary. Thanks for the help. Thank you, Commissioners.
Great.
Now, you wanted to sign it too, or did you?
Yeah,
So we just need-
Yeah, okay.
I can sign it and then.
So do we have a motion?
Second.
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Levesey?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Right.
It's like right on time. All right, public hearing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very much.
Hey, good job.
I would say our next meeting will be in
Yeah,
April comes back.
April of next year.
Okay.
I'll be back again.
good. Hopefully the flowers are coming up, right?
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's a nice.
Can we fast forward?
Wait, April showers, right?
Yeah.
Appreciate your time.
Yep,
Okay,
you guys
take care.
now.
Have a wonderful holiday.
Yep.
You too.
You too, Merry Christmas. So now at 9:30, we have a public hearing for, regarding the annexation from the First Methodist Church of Middlefield of 15 acres into the village of Middlefield, and representing will be who? John?
This is John Hunter and I'm Matt Hall.
So what I'm gonna have to do is, purpose of this hearing, I'm gonna have to swear you both in, so if you could both raise your hand if you're willing, if you're gonna testify. Do you both-
Anybody?
Anybody else would, yeah,
I'm a pastor.
okay.
Okay.
So if you
Oh,
raise your
and
right
you're-
hand
Can we do it?
and,
Will we do it, Rob?
Yes.
sure.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And then the only other thing that we'll do is let's have a motion to waive the reading of the public notice.
Second.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Lennon?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye. Okay. Good morning, how's everybody?
Good morning, Commissioners.
So for the record, you're Attorney Ralph
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Attorney Matt Hall.
and John Hunter. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for hearing. Should I go ahead and start?
Yeah, go ahead, for sure.
So again, this is an application for annexation from the First United Methodist Church of Middlefield. And John approached me in late summer. I believe you have for you as part of our submission the minutes from the Land Use Committee of the church approving John to be their agent for this. We submitted our initial application in late September of this year, and then subsequently amended it to correct the title and then to add on some, a different map to the plat or map of the land. We then subsequently amended it at the beginning of December. And we did that to correct the map again and also to update the legal description. We had a meeting with the engineer's office, and they were extraordinarily helpful in terms of conveying to us that the map and the legal description were inaccurate, and also we were able to get that turned around very quickly, get all the necessary approvals from the map room, and then the engineer's office subsequent to resubmitting that. So we
And
very
Matt,
much, yes.
Can I interject for a
Yes.
moment? I believe there's a representative from the engineer's office here who can comment on the accuracy of the map and plan.
Yes, but each one and two.
Laura, do you want to swear him in also?
Yeah. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Yes, we reviewed the map, and the map is accurate, acceptable.
As many of you know, I'm sure we have a number of very mechanical statutory requirements with this, and we worked to be diligent in meeting all of those requirements. The map was the one that we really worked on, especially here, and updated twice. You'll find, and it's my MO is not to belabor the point with the things that are already on the record, but we did provide notice to the township and to the village of our application. You should also have on your record there the ordinance that was adopted by the village of Middlefield regarding the provision of services to the plat, to the parcel of land. And just to make sure everybody knows, I should have talked about this before. This parcel of land is 15 acres, which is just north of the village of Middlefield on Route 608, and currently is mostly vacant. Is there any structure on the land at this point?
We have a pavilion,
Okay.
open pavilion.
And John, would you like to talk about the intent of the church for what will be built on this eventually, and the reasons for the application?
We are hopefully planning to build a church. It's obviously down the road, it might be 4 or 5 years yet when the funds become available. But I did want to mention that we've done a lot of work there. I don't know if you've driven by it, but taking down an old house and a couple barns and outbuildings, removal of over 1,000 tires that were sitting in there. So we've cleaned the place up, looking nice, and we hope to expand our church usage there, possibly putting a thrift floor and a food cupboard, which we currently work out of our church right now. But there's always room for expansion on those things. And so basically our plan is just to help the community. Allow them to use the pavilion we just built and offer different services to those that need it.
And I guess the purpose for annexation is, I mean, you can still do those things you just said, but what's the reason for annexing?
Well, we want to actually use the water and sewer.
Okay.
Make that available for
I see.
when we build our church.
Okay, so that's the reason, okay.
So just a quick, brief point, and as an attorney, I think you might confirm this. Annexation is not necessary to get access to the sewer system. It may be required by the city, but in essence, a service agreement would accomplish the same thing. If the city is willing to give you a service agreement, it would be required to go through an annexation process. So I don't know that we have an objection to the annexation. I'm just pointing that out if you guys had inclinations one way or the other. So.
No, I think the annexation would help us become more part of the village.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're right there near town, we're right near the school system next door.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, we can
I
incorporate
see.
some projects for the kids if needed. And possibly recreation.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
John, how many members does the church have?
For master roughly.
Probably in the upper 200s. In membership, little under 100 in worship on a Sunday.
Is anybody objecting to the annexation?
Not at all, not that's come to our.
We've had nothing come to our attention to this point, although I don't know if anybody is here for that purpose.
Okay. Laura, you've had time to review this.
Everything seems to be in order, just to allow the board to prepare the resolution that it needs to either grant or deny the annexation. We just need the applicant to provide us with more information regarding some of the factors, and I've discussed these with Attorney Rolfe, and he's going to provide us with more information on this.
Okay.
Well, one thing that I had discussed with Attorney LaChapelle was should this annexation be approved, on the opposite side of the road, there is a single parcel which is in the township, but has a parcel that's in the city on one side of it, and then this would be a parcel in the city on the other side of it. The statute asks the commissioners to look at whether there's going to be any problems with the maintenance of the road. The road in question is 608 and is maintained by the state in general. So at this time, we don't feel like that is going to be any kind of an issue. I'd also bring up that, at this time, we don't have a specific agreement between the city and the township. Should the commissioners ask us to go back and get that, we can certainly do that. But again, this is a state route. There was also a parcel just outside of Chardon, between Melharder Park and the city of Chardon for many years, where road services were applied, and to my knowledge, there was no problem in that area. So,
Mr. Roll?
yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
So are you saying that a street or highway will be divided or segmented?
No.
Okay.
No. The street or highway is not going to be divided or segmented. There's
As a result of
simply-
the annexation?
No.
Okay.
No.
Andy, is that your understanding?
It's my understanding as well, just as for the maintenance agreement, the segmentation of the road is still the responsibility of the road maintenance is between the village and the state. And my understanding is that the state maintains the state highways within the village.
Okay, so you don't see any issues necessarily?
No.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to clarify that from the board.
In addition, we had provided notice as instructed in the statute to the surrounding parcel holders. We've also provided notice to the township and to the village. The village has issued an ordinance based on the extension of services to the parcel. The township has issued an ordinance in general support of the annexation, which we are very, very happy to see. And we have also provided notice to the board of us to the commissioners of us providing notice to everyone we were required to. We did provide notice by publication in the Maple Leaf, and that ran on, I believe, December 6th or 8th. The 6th. And we provided proof of publication as well here.
Is the village, I'm sure you've had discussions with them, if they had any comments, input, or indifferent to what you're doing?
Their conversation I've had, Leslie's here, we've had, their intent is to go along and support us.
Okay. And you've discussed that at your meetings?
Yes, they even put it, council actually put it in, also that they see no reason to reject the annexation or lot.
Okay, so it's already been reviewed by council?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
Is there anybody else that is against this, or anybody that else wants to make a statement regarding this in this hearing? Nobody? Okay, so then,
Mr. Spidler?
Yep.
The board's sitting in a quasi-judicial capacity, so it has 30 days to render a decision. So if the board wants to deliberate on a different date, it can do so, just to discuss any of the issues, and then obviously we can prepare a resolution. So you don't need to make a decision today.
okay. And I guess, as my position, I've reviewed this, a whole bunch. I feel comfortable as far as moving forward with this. Today, if we would need to officiate it as far as the, resolution, if there's nothing prepared, do you want us to wait, or?
Actually, if it's okay with you, I needed the information from the hearing today to assist the board in drafting the resolution.
Okay.
So I'll get that, I'll work with you to get that put together as soon as possible.
Okay.
And then we could, put it on session. Of course, we'll let Mr. Wolf know.
Okay.
The next meeting?
Okay.
Okay.
And when is that?
Thursday.
Next Thursday is our next commissioners meeting, the
Okay,
following.
yeah, that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, yeah.
Is that okay with you, Matt?
Yes, Attorney LaChapelle, is there anything else you'd like me to put on the record here today
Oh.
that is necessary from your perspective?
I think we've covered everything, for the most part.
Okay, great. And as far as for next week, do they need to be here again, or is it not necessary?
It's up to you, if you'd like to be present.
Okay. So, all right. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Appreciate
Have a
it.
good day
Yeah,
now.
good luck.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
So we'll officially close the meeting then at 9:45. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
Take care now.
Okay.
Morning.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. Brought the whole team today, huh?
Come in force. Item 6 on the agenda is requesting the board approve and execute the final change order for the Haskins Road Bridge replacement. It's an increase in the final contract of $1,220. Incidental numbers, quantity items for the project.
So, second.
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye.
Item 7 is requesting the board authorize Commissioner Lennon to execute the Ohio Public Works Commission Appendix E disbursement number 2 and final for the asphalt resurfacing of Bundysburg Road in the amount of $111,256.80, and that's the final for that project.
Second.
Commissioner Claypool?
Yep.
Commissioner Lennon?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Spillier?
Let me take this opportunity too, Joe here, to call out him and his whole team. Well, Grace has taken a lot of glory here. A lot of that work, a lot of that brute force work for that, the grant dollars for that safety study was done by Joe Patel in his office. And they did a great job with ODOT, by the way. They did the safety study. All that safety study stuff was done by the county engineer and ODOT. And so I want to give them credit for all of the work that they did. And it was a lot of work. And so, Joe, you guys did a good job on that.
You were instrumental in pushing that through too, so just push all the credit this way. Thank you.
So, a lot of work, a number of years. These things don't move quickly enough, unfortunately, but it did play out ultimately. So I'm happy to see that. But sometimes with the bureaucratic, political stuff, it gets lost who really does the work. And you guys really did the work. So, thanks.
It's for the hard negotiating terms.
Turtle at it. Got any bottles
Stick
you
your
need
neck
open?
Alrighty, so
This is the, you spoke about this a couple times, with the 911 next gen upgrades. This is part of the project for the workstation. I brought Lou in case you have any questions.
When are we going to get to facial recognition? So we just track people and get them all logged in.
Right, check I can have you by January.
Hey, you know what, I do have a question. Do you have the technology on your cruisers where the license plate readers?
They do.
You do? Okay. Do they all have that?
No, but they're mounted on the cars and the database is actually Geauga County.
Okay, so we have some vehicles set up for that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they go all
Yeah,
over.
that's handy, isn't
You'll see
it?
them, they get the cameras mounted on each side and the back.
And
So
so
you put them on the Explorer, because I saw them always on the trunk of
They
the
go
Impala.
same thing, front and rear.
Oh, okay.
They're up top.
They get them.
do I sign this?
All of you signed.
This stuff is, the technology is just moving at such a fast race.
It's nice, but actually one of your entertainers, was it Swift, they came back after she did it and they said if you're in a public area, there's no longer a privacy for facial recognition.
My son works with a government agency, I won't say who, but he's home and he's telling me some of the stuff that's going on. It just, a little scary to me. I'm wearing a hat, hoodie.
What did I
It's,
tell you?
They're after you, Skip.
Bring back those lights, the glasses.
I see those drones flying around.
It would be nice to put her on social tracks and offenders, because that way if it came in or around the school,
Right.
it's public, you have it long enough, it's not like you're retaining it forever, but if that person's got a flag, they don't have expectation of privacy, in fact, they're not supposed to be around the schools. And that
So-
would be like a bing.
So just to get back to our next-gen systems, I'm sorry, I took you off, yeah. So this is for the work councils,
Right.
this is that component to it, okay. And I know you guys have looked into, all kinds of options to see if we could do this for less or not,
Yep.
but this was really the best we could come up with in the.
Well, that's actually the only.
Yeah. I know you were exploring maybe having some outside, somebody fabricate these workstations, and it doesn't work. No. but,
And this is actually come in under budget, so.
okay, good. Very well.
Good for
And,
you.
and also the vehicle, you know, I was in support of that, you know, picking up that, I think there was a couple available out there. I know you grabbed one more, before they go over to the hybrid vehicles, right? And I'm in favor of, you know, if we can snatch up a few of those before we have to truly convert, because we don't want to be the first ones to be the guinea pigs testing those things out. So I don't think, you know, I would imagine these vehicles are idling a lot, and if they're just based on batteries, I don't know how that, you know, I'm sure they've tested this stuff at Ford, but I don't want us to be the ones to figure it out, you know, for them.
Right. It always works good in the laboratory.
Yeah, right. So I'm, you know, just on the record, I'm in support of, if we can grab some good old fashioned, you know, unleaded engine cars, let's do it, you know, and get as many as we can before we, you know, forced to do it.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lane?
Yes.
All right,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Have a good one.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Dave.
We're back.
I was wondering where you're hiding.
I think we're gonna take a recess.
Yeah.
Business.
No. Just doing paperwork.
You got that effect on people?
Yeah, I did.
You have that effect on people.
Kevin from,
Alright, this is just some housekeeping. We're requesting the board to approve and authorize the president of the board to execute our housing revolving loan fund administration agreement for the Ohio Department of Services Agency. This just allows our department to administer the revolving loan fund program and the allocation grant.
Second?
Commissioner Claypool? Commissioner Lane?
Yes.
Commissioner Spillier?
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy holidays.
you. Yep, you too. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Alrighty.
Need it back.
Morning.
We're just doing paperwork, don't worry.
It's a time of year for us to renew a wellness grant for 2019. I have for you a summary of how we did last year with our wellness program. These are some statistics of the use of computers have helped generate. But it is needed and it's appreciated by subsequent numbers that are participating in the wellness program. I think they put out health conditions just through our wellness program last year. 40% of those participants identified with a new condition that they didn't know that they had.
How many?
40%.
Jesus.
So that's quite a significant number. So I think we request your permission to accept this grant and execute it.
So like what kind of issues?
We can't say specifically for HIPAA reasons, but the stats range from obesity, prediabetes, cholesterol issues, other health conditions that are found with blood screens.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Claypool?
Yes.
Commissioner Lennon?
I'm giving you a break, Kelly. I'm giving you
Your last wellness vote.
There's a lot I'd like to say, but I'm reserving because it's holiday.
Thank you, it's much appreciated.
And you're so nice.
Santa is at his neck, so he's watching it.
That's right.
Okay.
Just remember
I'll bring it down to
You'll bring
you.
it up.
Yep.
Proverbs 28:1.
I will.
Dave, do you want to?
Are you coming up for this one?
Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
We're gonna start calling those the Skip Claypool wellness.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, do that.
This is
Yeah, that'd be
good.
good. Yeah, something I remember.
Just to remind
I'd
you.
like to have my name on all
Yeah,
this
this
stuff.
is on one
That
of this
wouldn't
line,
be
on
one.
this line, and then next to your name.
Still like to tag my name to wastewater program.
Love your name right there.
All right. This is just the letter of intent from the Geauga Trumbull Joint Solid Waste Management District to look at and evaluate that parcel that sits down on Merritt Road between the library and the engineer's office. They can move forward with doing that. This is just their letter of intent that we're going to allow them to move forward with that, and we'll start negotiations on a lease moving forward. So the letter of intent has, there was a lease or rent and a term of lease. We're going to line those out because those will be determined in the lease agreement.
Very good.
You're just accepting the letter of intent.
That's a big step. Recognize Commissioner Claypool for all of his work in getting that here.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. I don't think that this would have been here at the table if it wasn't for him.
Right.
I honestly say,
Yep.
it's a great job. Thank you, Skip.
Yep.
You're welcome.
So
Thank you to you guys, because it couldn't be done alone. It's all support. So
Second?
let's make it happen, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you like?
Yes.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Okay, and then county engineer's office. We can get this sorted. So we're moving into executive session for the purpose of discussing imminent litigation with legal counsel for the board pursuant to RC 121.22 subsection G3, and to discuss the acquisition of property pursuant to RC 121.23 subsection G and 2. Do we have a motion?
Second?
Commissioner Claypool?
Aye.
Aye. In attending will be
And Laura and.
Chrissy, Ryan.
Oh.
And Andy and Joe. Is Frank going in too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no, it's two of them.
Yeah, he's near leaving. Everybody in the county.
It's farther, yes, but it's another mile up
A lot of traffic, a lot of congestion, a lot of time. You can't get time back when you lose.
And
Yeah.
parking is a real issue, I gotta tell you.
But that's part of the study.
Parking would have to be looked at as well, of course.
Exactly.
Well, I think Bowen did part of this study. It's in their study, what you're talking about right now. And they've recommended, moving off the square to the 35 acre or to, that's really their recommendation, knowing that we currently are on the square. That they know where we are. They know the condition of those buildings, the grades of those buildings, everything on the square. I think besides the courthouse, well, no, the courthouse got a D. The rest are failing. They're in failing, and I probably shouldn't, say that too loudly because we're going to want to resell those buildings, and nobody has more interest in having a game plan or transition to get the bang for our buck and market value when we get ready to sell those buildings.
And we agree that you should sell.
Yeah, and we're gonna, hopefully find, I've been actively talking to developers, seeing if there's any interest in here with 470, the facts that Denoratech is getting ready to vacate. There's 40 acres back there. I've been trying to drum up some interest from local developers, but, it's in some ways, listening to now, I had a different impression of what you were asking about just the courthouse, but it sounds like you want all of what is on the square to remain on the square, somewhere in new buildings somewhere up there.
Correct, if that is feasible.
Okay.
And
they've, just to be clear, Bowen has told us it's not, not in the particular way you're asking, but they have said that it is more efficient for us to look at other greenfield options, but I'm still okay with going down this road. I'm hesitant to spend a bunch of money on a drawn out study with it, but I want to honor our friendship and our business relationship and try and help answer those questions.
And we're not coming here as a city demanding that you do
No.
this. We're coming here asking.
Right.
Well, that's the reason that we would even consider it, is because you're asking. I mean, you're being good about it, and we want to respect the city, and so we might reach out to Bowman and then, but don't, if we come back and say, we could actually have, and again, I don't want to speak for the board, we could theoretically have a discussion with Bowman, we could reach out to them, find out, and then invite you into that discussion to reveal some more of what we're facing decision-wise, because we got a lot of information, some of which we can't reveal, or we shouldn't reveal, and so.
Yeah, we'd be happy to attend that or get
Yeah.
together with Bowen if that's
Jerry?
feasible.
Yeah, we'd reach out to Bowman.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure I was clear on
Yeah.
what we're
No, I'm glad
asking,
you did.
because it's two completely separate things.
Well, the courthouse is one of the driving factors here, but there's.
Okay.
I think close on some of those departments, it just makes sense that they still remain.
Yeah,
close
yeah.
in close
There's a
proximity,
synergy to
because
what we're
otherwise
doing.
It doesn't really make
I
that
mean,
much sense to do the courthouse. as everybody else is doing.
Exactly, and it goes beyond, costs, dollars and cents, this whole project too. There's a synergy between departments and how they interact together, and, there's a cost to that too. I'd be happy to explore this fourth option and see if there's anything that makes sense there, Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Have a great holiday.
Thank you, Merry Christmas.
Appreciate it.
Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Anything else?
Okay, so the county offices will be closed on the 24th. We've got an ADP more meeting today at, 2 p.m.? And then we'll be closed on Christmas, and we'll have our meeting on the 27th again, so. Other than that, is there anything else?
27th, that's the Thursday, right?
Yeah. So then with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you.